Welcome to Health Advocates Ask the Expert series, our monthly show about trending topics in healthcare. I'm your host, Courtney Preiser. Today we're joined by Matt Verdecchia, Senior Trainer with Health Advocates EAP and Work-Life program to talk about stress in the workplace. Thanks so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
We talk about stress all the time, but how pervasive is it in the workplace?
I thought a lot about this, and I think it's kind of relative. I mean, we need stress to be productive. Okay, people say stress and they automatically think negative.
Sure.
But we need it to be productive. We need it to be to perform at our best. I think how prevalent is it at the workplace? I'd say probably people are a little bit more stressed than they had been in the past.
Okay.
But again, it's kind of relative to look at it. People are looking at financial issues, our parental issues, trying to balance work and family. Some people do that exceptionally well and need that stress to function. When it becomes overwhelming is when it becomes a concern, not only for hopefully the person and their family, but the organization as well.
Makes sense. Is there any way that organizations can measure the level of stress among their employees?
Yeah, I think from a supervisory level, I really want people to start being out there and taking a look at what's going on. Too often we're hanging with our texts, our phone calls, that kind of stuff. Go out, get visible, look for changes in your workplace. Look for people who may have been on the inside that are kind of on the outside. Look for little silos being built around. It's always indicative of changes that are going on in an organization or stressors that the department might be having. Obviously, take a look at people's individual behavior. I mean, everybody who's experienced difficulty, it's going to show in their performance because it shows in their behavior. And that's what we can recognize. That's really my message. I want people to start taking a look at what changes, and then how can we approach them and intercede.
Kind of take the blinders off a little bit.
Sure.
And so you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the key sources that really lead to stress among employees?
There are numerous stressors that employees have. There's personal and there's the professional side. You might have an elderly parent who's just moved into your house. That's a personal stressor, but it's going to affect you financially. It's going to affect how you get to work. You're going to need to make some arrangements. And that's just one of a plethora of stressors that people experience. Other stressors could be a dissatisfaction with work. Organizations are going through changes. Now I really liked my supervisor before, but now I have to report to somebody else. Here's the scoop. When it comes to stress, people really don't like change. Change is a definite part of stress. And that comes from people who think that they don't have control over their personal environment or their professional environment. That's one of the main indicators or one of the main issues of why people experience stress.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be a combination of personal and work-life things
Absolutely,
that are happening.
for everybody.
So then how does this stress affect the organization as a whole?
Obviously, what everybody thinks about, increased absenteeism, increased presenteeism. People are there, but they're not really functioning well, or they might be interrupting others. There's a financial cost to it. People who are disillusioned in the job they have, those who are employable leave. Okay, so now you've lost money on training, you've lost money on development, you've lost an excellent person, when you could have gone out and said, look, you know what, you're a great employee, I don't want to lose you. How can I help you stay here? So, I mean, there's a definite negative. Now, on a positive side, changing organizations, yeah, there's going to be stress in there, and we have organizational changes going on. But sometimes that really drives people, though we use the word stress, but it's eustress, it's positive, it's a driving force in moving things forward. Because if we don't have stress, we kind of be stagnant.
Absolutely. So what are a few best practices that employers can consider to help address and mitigate stress for their employees? At least the bad kind, I guess.
Right. The first thing, well, actually, even on the good kind, reward great behavior. Catch somebody doing something well and make sure they're aware that they are valued. All right, take an effort to help reduce stress, or at least when their performance does start to slack a little bit, you have something positive to start out on. You can do health risk assessments. You can do numerous different things that are provided within the benefits, within Health Advocate, within the Employee Assistance Program. But we really want to get out there and, like I said, be visible. Recognize what's going on with your team. Recognize those changes in behavior. Have some kind of, I don't know, a fun day if you can. Include family members, though. I think, especially during the recession, we had a tendency not to include family members in our workplace. Right? There really isn't a division anymore. So I think it's important that we include that aspect as well.
Absolutely. So how does Health Advocate help organizations manage stress among their employees?
One, helping organizations recognize it through training. So we want to do manager training on how to recognize those signs and symptoms. We want to provide those kind of seminars or trainings that might help people get into better financial understanding. a training maybe on how to cope with an elderly loved one.
Okay.
Providing resources, and again, not just through the EAP and through Health Advocate, we provide those services both in person, telephonically, and online, which is a great value, but I don't think people remember it.
Sure.
So make sure that you get the word out, communicate that it's out there. And honestly, if we can't provide that service directly, 9 times out of 10, we can find a resource that's going to help them out.
Really meet them where they are and help them find
Exactly.
it however they can best utilize it.
Right, well said.
All right, thank you so much. This has been really helpful.
No, it's my pleasure, thanks.
And thank you for tuning in. If you like what you just heard, you can follow us on our social media pages or subscribe to our channel below. And tune in again next time for another edition of Ask the Expert.